and the hero of the night was the catcher who set the tone for a big weekend at home, where another catcher receives his eternal honor in team history. The last time the Mets and the Phillies got together up in New York, the Phillies were descending out of first place in the National League East. Now, as they get set for Game 1 of a 3-game series, the Phillies are ascending toward first place. That's right, the Phils and the Mets get together once again here at Citizens Bank Park, and the excitement is building not only because of the Phils' road trip, but also because Darren Dalton was the newest addition to the Phillies' Wall of Fame, the 32nd edition. And it happened about a half hour ago. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Gary Matthews. Chris Wheeler will be here in just a little bit. The Phillies are playing some good baseball right now. The Mets are not. And the Phillies, Sarge, return home on an 11-game winning streak here at this ballpark.
Yeah, Tom, they've been playing actually well, getting all the breaks besides the injuries that they've had. It just shows you how resilient this ball club has been. Now, take a look here at the homestand there, the games that they're going to play there. This is when they got to make a little bit of hay. Even though they're playing some great games, yeah, going to go to New York for 3, back home again. There's some teams that are pretty tough there. Don't catch a break until they see maybe the Houston Astros, but guess what? They can be even tough. But again, some home cooking right now should just do the team very well.
Phillies have won 11 straight here at this ballpark. The excitement is building because it's another sold-out crowd. They got a chance to see Darren Dalton installed into the Phillies Wall of Fame. It'll be Joe Blanton for the Phils. Jonathan Neese makes the start for the Mets. We get set for the first pitch and the starting lineups. It's the kickoff of Alumni Weekend. What a way to start it. It was just a little while ago. The first pitch is coming up next. Plate. We're about a half hour overdue for the start of this ball game, but it was well worth it. Darren Dalton with a number of his former teammates and some of the other Wall of Fame members like Jim Bunning, Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, the Bull, Greg Luzinski, and of course Tony Taylor, the great Phillies second baseman. Well, they were along to honor Darren Dalton, the 32nd addition to the Phillies Wall of Fame. It all began back in 1978 at the old vet, and some really impressive names and some impressive speeches as well. And there's Darren's son, Zach, who is taking the cover off of the plaque. And it's appropriate that Darren Dalton's plaque is right there next to John Vukovic's plaque on the Phillies Wall of Fame. And there it is out there along Ashburn Alley. If you get a chance to come to the ballpark, you'll see the newest addition, Darren Dalton, right up there with all of the other names. Let's take a look at the Mets lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Leading off at shortstop, Jose Reyes. Angel Pagan, the left fielder, bats second. Carlos Beltran hits third, followed by David Wright, the third baseman. Ike Davis, the first baseman, bats fifth. Josh Tolley's the catcher. He'll hit sixth. And the bottom third of Jeff Francoeur, Louis Castillo, and Jonathan Neese. And they will face Phillies right-hander Joe Blanton, making his 18th start of the year, 4-6 with a 5.86 earned run average, Wheels.
And Joe Blanton, they're just looking for some more consistency out of this guy. You know, they're trying to solidify this rotation. They certainly have done that by adding Roy Oswalt, and now they need Blanton and Kendrick to do their things, and they think they have a good rotation. Here's the Southwest Airlines scouting report, and Joe, when he keeps the ball down the zone, everybody knows how much better he is. Against the Mets, pretty good. He's pitched well against them, and boy, they could use some innings tonight after those goofy games in Florida. Not only did the guys have to pitch a lot, but it was smoking hot down there. So, you know, everybody's a little bit drained. Got in at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, so they could use something from the starter.
Well, it's a comfortable night here in Philadelphia as Jose Reyes digs in. We're about ready to get underway. It's game one of a 6-game homestand, and as we mentioned during the open, 16 of the next 19 here at the ballpark. And the first pitch is a fastball outside.
There's a lot of wind here tonight. Of course, the weather conditions have really changed this afternoon, and it's blowing hard from left to right, and the ball was just flying out of here towards center and then right center.
2-0 the count to Reyes. And that's in at the knees, and it's 2-1. Reyes is 3 for 15 on this road trip for the Mets. Just 1 for 12 lifetime against Joe. Good off-speed pitch. Looked like a changeup from Joe. That's some great break to it.
Phillies haven't seen this guy for these guys for a long time. Haven't seen the Mets. When they saw the Mets last time, the Mets were hot, running the bases, and Reyes was on fire.
Back toward the middle. Nice play by Blanton on the glove side. He'll run halfway to the bag. Mike Sweeney has his first put out in the Phillies uniform. 1 away here in the first. Oh, Wheels, it's time now for our Nissan keys to the ball game.
On this gorgeous night, well, Tom mentioned 16 out of 19. Stay hot at home. And who are these guys? Haven't seen them since May the 27th. And the New York media at that time had them winning the World Series. And, of course, the New York media now has them terrible.
Well, it is the end of the model year, and Nissan's laying it all on the line. Nissan's bottom line sales event going on now. Jerry Emanuel, last time the Phillies faced the New York Mets, he had a pretty good run against the Yankees in the previous series, and folks thought that if he didn't do well against the Yankees and the Mets, he might be out of a job. Well, he's still in the driver's seat for the Mets as Angel Pagan takes a fastball to the inside corner. It's quickly 0-2.
Well, they have a lot of guys that just haven't hit for a couple months. You know, you look at their numbers, their offensive numbers are dreadful, and their pitching has been spotty at best.
0-2 the count to Pagan.
They had really adapted their game well when Philly saw them last time to that monster ballpark. There's one of the guys who's stone cold right now, Jeff Francoeur. And they were running and taking the extra base and playing really good small ball. You know, we haven't seen them, so it's hard to say what's happened to them.
Well, you see what they've done since the 6th of July, hitting just .218. Not pitching badly, but not scoring a whole lot of runs.
Yeah, and Santana had kind of a down streak, and then they wouldn't score any runs, kind of like Halladay and Oswalt for the Phillies didn't score runs for him. And that's their big guy out there. Pelfrey started out great, and he's really been struggling.
3-2 the count to Pagan. Mike DeMuro is the home plate umpire.
Pretty good change up there.
And if that's a familiar name, that was the home plate umpire the night that Roy Halladay threw his perfect game. Line drive, base hit. Taken on one hop by Ben Francisco. So a 1-out single for Pagan, who's really been their hottest hitter. Well, the Mets have been up and down this entire year. They've had some good runs, but they're involved in a bad run right now over the last 41 games. 15-26 during that span. And Wheels, the 24 where they were 19-5, that's when the Phillies caught them the last time.
Yep. caught him and got swept up there, and the Mets played really good baseball against the Phillies in that 3-game series.
Well, a guy that they didn't see was Carlos Beltran, who is in the lineup tonight and is in the 3-hole, and he takes a fastball for strike one.
And Beltran isn't hitting a whole lot, but he does have 12 walks, and he's been on base a lot, and that's been his MO anyway. He's lifetime against the Phillies, very good. And Beltran has always been a high on base percentage guy because he runs so well. I mean, because he runs so well, but also because he has such a good eye and he walks a lot.
Well, you saw the number of home runs he has against the Phillies for his career. He had a right knee injury that is still causing him some problems because he's wearing a very bulky brace on that right knee. Back toward the middle, that could be two. Jimmy's got it. He'll take it to the bag himself. It will be two. Joe Blanton does a nice job getting out of any kind of trouble here in the first. No runs, one hit, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the first. It's the Mets nothing, and the Phillies at Jimmy Rollins coming up. Streak at Citizens Bank Park, their longest all time, 16 back in 91 and 77, and that was at the vet, and part of that is because they've gotten some good pitching, but also because their offense has been red hot here at Citizens Bank Park. And speaking of the offense, let's take a look at Charlie Manuel's starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Leading it off at shortstop, Jimmy Rollins. Raul Ibanez is in left field batting second. Placido Polanco hits third, followed by Mike Sweeney making his first start in the Phil's uniform. Jason Worth bats fifth. Then Francisco hits sixth. And the bottom third of Carlos Ruiz, Wilson Valdez, and Joe Blanton. And they will face 24-year-old left-hander Jonathan Neese, making his 20th start of the year. And earlier this season, Wheels, he threw a gem at the Phillies here at this ballpark.
He was really good times. You look at his numbers, and between the 27th of June, the 27th of July, 6 starts, he had a 2.09 earned run average. Was one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball.
Well, here's Jimmy Rollins to lead it off, and he takes a fastball for strike one. Jimmy overall hitting .241 with 4 homers and 24 RBIs. He had kind of an up and down road trip. Now, he got on base a handful of times and scored some runs, but he wasn't the most consistent hitter the Phillies had on the trip. They're coming up next. Jonathan Neese at his last start against the Arizona Diamondbacks got roughed up. He allowed 6 earned runs in 4 1/3. He allowed 2 homers. There's a roller toward third. David Wright has got it. And there's one away. So Jimmy's retired, and here comes Raul Ibanez. Last time Raul Ibanez was in this ballpark, that was the 11th consecutive win the Phillies had here at home. His batting average had lifted over 260 to 263. Well, he's added 12 more points onto that batting average during this road trip because he has been smoking hot. It's a 13-game hitting streak, and he was 9 for 19 on the road trip. That one's off the end of the bat, a flare, and it's over the head of Reyes. It's a 14-game hitting streak. And the chants of Raul are getting louder and more prevalent here at the ballpark.
Well, it shows you how hot he is. Nice made a great pitch on him there. It looked like a cutter down and away, and Raul just went with it. He broke his bat. There you see the pitch. See it cut a little bit down and away from him. Hit it right off the end of the bat. Broke it, but still cleared it over Reyes' head. And when you're hot, you're hot. And those are the kind of things that work for you.
Well, speaking of hot, as Ibanez leads off first, it'll bring Placido Polanco to the plate. He had 10 hits on the road trip to raise his average to 322, and with Joey Votto not having a great day today for the Reds, Polanco has lifted his batting average to the top spot in the National League. Last time a Philly won a batting title was 1958, and it was Whitey who hit 350 that season.
And he hit Richie also won the batting championship with 55, and then again in 58. There's Jonathan Neese in the Southwest Airlines scouting report on him. You already saw that cutter. He has a sinking fastball. He also tail one. He's got a lot of pitches, but the one thing about him is he can get wild, although they say his command has gotten better, and he can really hold runners on.
That one just went right off the glove of Tolley. I don't know if he was crossed up or not. It had a lot of late movement on it. That should be a pass ball, and if it is, it'll be the first one on Tolley since being brought up to the big leagues. Well, they scored a wild pitch.
Yeah. That's a pass ball.
He just dropped it.
But you can catch it. It's a pass ball. And, as we talked before, you obviously don't get crossed up when there's nobody at second because you just put the sign down and that's it. So they'll change that probably.
Well, they just did. Jay Dunn made the adjustment as Polanco nearly had an extra base hit and an RBI.
Fans are yelling. First base umpire Tim Welke down there. That ball caught part of the bag.
Figure it's been working in their favor lately.
Well, that certainly has been the talk of not only this town but of Major League Baseball today. That play last night.
Bob Davidson still stands by his judgment that it was a foul ball. Over toward third. That's a fair ball over the bag. How about that? Ibanez is around third. He's going to score, and the Phillies lead it 1-0. Well, that third base bag has been rather friendly for the Phillies lately. At least in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, Nice is out there saying, man, what do I have to do? I just made another great pitch. But those are two hot hitters. Raul and Placido Polanco are very hot right now. Here's another cutter right there. Now here it comes down the line, and it goes over the bag. And as everybody, of course, knows, it doesn't matter what happens after that. If it goes over the bag, it's a fair ball.
And Bill Welke is happy that it went over the bag, and he had a clear view of it.
Now that was a lot more obvious.
Mike Sweeney rips one right at shortstop Jose Reyes. How about the ball jumping off his bat there? Swinging at the first pitch at his first at bat here at Citizens Bank Park.
Fans didn't even have a chance to really welcome Mike Sweeney. Here it is. Here's the play. And it goes down the line and appears to go over the corner of the bag. And Bob called it foul right away. That's the way he saw it. And then he got attacked by the Marlins. I mean, they were all over him.
Except for Gabby Sanchez, who was unbelievably classy after the ball game and said, hey, listen, it's all part of the game. Players make mistakes. Managers make mistakes. Sometimes umpires make mistakes.
Well, Sanchez did have another chance and strike out after that.
He said that, too. Here's Jason Worth with a runner in scoring position at 2 away. As we came to find out after the ball game, as Tolley misses another one. As we came to find out after the ball game, you and I talked about how that ball was spinning. And Bob Davidson said that when it landed fair before the bag, he looked down and he said it went foul and then came back spinning into fair territory. And he said that's not his issue. He doesn't worry about it because once it spun foul, it was a foul ball. It still is hard to explain.
The rule, of course, is the ball must go past the bag at some point, and then it's a fair ball. If it does not touch the bag or near the bag and it goes foul, it's foul. And he said it was a foul ball. And a lot of people disagree.
One more time. I'm sure it's not the last time we'll see it.
Oh, man, this thing's been played over and over and over.
See, right there, it hits the chalk line near the foul side. And then it spins back, which is the oddity because it was a right-handed hitter who had pulled the ball. It spins back to fair territory, farther into fair territory.
Well, that made that ride home a lot nicer this morning. Been a long night, and that really helped.
Inside ball 4. Worth is aboard, and the Phillies have 2 on with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first.
He's throwing a lot of cutters here in the first inning, and you know, Raul hit one off the end of the bat, broke it, got a base hit, and then Polanco hit one.
Here we go. It's on the white line right there, and it was spinning, and it looks like it goes over the bag and then comes back into fair territory right there. But Bob Davidson was already making his call. He wasn't even looking at it.
No, he doesn't care at that point. All his only concern is whether the ball goes over any part of the bag. That's it. And after that, doesn't matter. If that ball goes over the bag and hops in the seats, it's a fair ball. On a ground ball. That's the other confusion with people sometimes with a line drive. If it goes foul, it's foul. And that was a ground ball. I saw somewhere it was written or something about a line drive over the bag. No, you know, that's the whole big difference right there. When it goes over the bag, it's got to be a ground ball for it to be ruled the way it was.
If it was a liner and landed there, it would have been a fair ball.
Yeah, in that case, because it was inside the line. Yeah. It's crazy. You know, it's one of those things you don't see that often. It's a tough call for an umpire because it, you know, happened a little fraction. Did it go over one little corner of the bag and all that? You know, they have to have great judgment on that play.
The amazing thing is that, you know, it's tough to convince people that when it lands on the line before the bag and lands inside the line after the bag, how could it have gone foul at all?
Right.
That's the tough part to understand.
Well, and the reason in that play was it didn't.
Right.
You know, I don't think it did. Thought that at the time and still do.
3-1 the count to Francisco. Way inside ball 4. Wow. Reese has just lost his control after the liner by Sweeney. Back-to-back walks, and Dan Worthen's headed out to the mound. So the bases are loaded for Carlos Ruiz, but first a conversation on the hill.
Well, he's throwing a lot of cutters. You know, it's one after another. Sliders, cutters, and they're coming down and in to these right-handed hitters. And you know, Polly kept one fair, and a lot of these are just off the plate right now.
Jerry Manuel's team comes into this ball game after losing 2 of 3 to the Braves. They had an off day yesterday here in Philadelphia. Nice reception for Carlos, and why not? 11 for 29 on the road trip. He had 379. The bases are loaded with 2 outs. And the first pitch somehow got the inside part of the plate. It's 0-1.
Well, they got a lot of 2-out hits in that series in Florida. And one of the reasons why they won 3 games. And they have a chance to bust it open a little bit right here. And he's trying to prevent a big inning.
Carlos was 8 for 15 in the game against the series against the Marlins, and this was number 8.
Got that 3-2 slider out over the plate for a moment and just hit it over the new scoreboard. He had some knife.
Carlos also had 6 RBIs in that series, including that homer. And he and his teammates have forced Neese to throw 25 pitches already here in the first. Swing and a miss. He got him on an off-speed pitch. First strikeout for Neese. Phillies strand the bases loaded, but they get the early lead on the RBI double by Placido Polanco. We go to the second. It's 1-0 Phils. Bank Park. Earlier this evening, Darren Dalton was inducted into the Phillies Wall of Fame. His son, Zach, pulled the drape off of the plaque out at the Wall of Fame. And Dutch joins us up here in the broadcast booth. And Darren, congratulations, buddy.
Tommy, thanks, baby. Wheels.
All right, man.
Always good to see you guys. Yeah, we were talking just before how much fun we used to have in the old days.
I saw you out there with Lefty. I was thinking of some of those Vegas trips.
Oh, my God. We can't tell these on the air.
It was fun.
Oh, my. I mean, those are the times you really miss, you know. The rest of it's the grind.
Well, we were kind of young then.
Yeah, well, we could do it then. We can't do it anymore. We're getting too old, Will.
Hey, I thought it was great, and it must have made you feel awesome when Lefty said, my favorite teammate. How about that? Steve Carlton said you were a favorite teammate.
Lefty and I, we used to like Harry.
Good play by Ruiz.
We used to go on vacation. You know, not only spend all of the season together every day. During the off season, we would go on dive trips and golf outings and what have you, and just became real close friends. You know, and that's the beauty of this game.
Hey, how about your plaque being next to Vooks? Huh?
I haven't got a chance to. Is it?
Yeah.
Man, there were some special people there in that video tonight, Wills, that I noticed. Vuk was, man, sorely missed, but it doesn't get any better than that guy. Yeah. You know. The epitome of a baseball man, Vuk was.
Well, he kind of liked guys with your makeup.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We were easy. Vuk and I were really, one thing that we really worked very well together at was the scouting reports, you know, and so when they would send us the scouting reports and at the beginning, there's Zach. Yeah, there's the Vuk.
It's a triangle. It's you, Vuk, and right below is HK's plaque.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right on. That's cool. That's cool. Zach got a kick out of it. My oldest son, he's 20.
Yeah, believe Zach.
Yeah, remember the little runt? He was in the video, and I remember. I think it was the '93 year we had the father-son game, and
you picked him up there.
And Zach had his hand on Fragosi's daughter's rear end. Remember? And they took a picture of it, and Fragos was like, "Dutch, man, that apple doesn't fall far from that tree, does it?" Well, go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say that's the other thing too, Darren, for all the fans, is Blanton takes another grounder and flips over to first. I want to talk to you about that. Your teammates being up there. We'll do that when we come back. If that's okay. We go to the bottom of the second. The Phillies lead it 1-0 here at Citizens Bank Park. Coming out, embracing him and bringing a replica of his Wall of Fame plaque. Kevin Stocker. We saw Tommy Greene, Ricky Jordan. Actually, Dave Hollins.
Yeah, pretty good crew right there.
Jim Eisenreich is in town for the alumni weekend.
Was there ever a more fundamentally sound player than Jim Eisenreich?
Oh, how about the last guy?
How about that guy?
The best was watching the Crucker as the line was forming. He had the plaque, and he was in the middle, and he had to wander back to the end, and it was only appropriate that he would be the last guy.
So, you know, Wills, and you were here through all those years. I mean, you can appreciate this. He never liked talking to the media. Dude didn't like talking to the media. Mitch really didn't like to talk to the media.
And now look.
Two of them are on the two major networks.
Media giants.
Yeah.
I have to tell people that back in '93, I was covering the team for the Trenton Times when George King had days off.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thankful you were in the clubhouse, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what a cast of characters the '93 club was.
Well, you guys, I don't want to say it was an adversarial role, but you guys used to use other people to make yourselves even better, I think.
Yeah.
And in that clubhouse, the media was not real welcome a lot of
right.
times.
Yeah, I agree. I think the persona was.
Valdez trying to hustle this one out, but he's retired.
I think the persona was in the clubhouse and on the field. We were pretty intimidating to a lot of teams, and that kind of carried over. The city we took on that persona. You know, it was a blue-collar town playing in Philadelphia at the Vet, and the fans fit right in there, and it was tough for teams to come in here and play against us, you know, and we did intimidate a lot of clubs.
You guys, and you know better than anybody, you used to stay late after games, too.
Oh, yeah.
And chat about the game.
Yeah. And you know what, Wills, it's funny you brought that up. We were talking about that earlier, and I was in Charlie's office. Schmitty and I were in there talking to him prior to the game. This is something that people really, as wild and crazy as the cast of characters were, they were also very good students of the game. And we did talk baseball. Dude was very much a student of the game. Mitch was as well, obviously, with MLB. Crucky, I mean, we all had our own seats. You know, I iced my knees on the slab. Crucky sat over there, had a pitcher of beer and an ashtray next to him. Dude was over on the floor with fruit. On a towel after the game in his shorts. Hollins was on another slab, and then the guys would start filtering in, and Tita Greene would bring us in pitchers of beer, and the guy Danny Jack. I mean, L.A. It was just it was a dream come true.
It was quite a group. We had fun. I mean, you guys had your moments with everybody, but it was a lot of fun for us to be around you.
Oh yeah,
and the fans just loved that team.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this with some of the other players. We considered you guys part of the team.
Yeah.
You know, you flew on the plane with us. You're on the road with us. We ate dinner with you. Went out with you. I mean, it was a family.
Yeah, we knew a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we would have had. You knew so much. We'd had to kill you.
That's right.
If you came out and said it on the air.
That's exactly right.
You know,
you had us right where you wanted us.
Absolutely. Can you imagine now with the picture phones and Tweeter and all that stuff?
David Wright on the run, trying to track that one down, and it goes out of play on a hop. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's not much privacy anymore.
No, absolutely not.
Well, and you talked about the fans too in your speech tonight, Darren. I thought that was kind of neat too, that they became obviously part of your life, but part of your extended family because of the success you had here.
Absolutely, it's Tom, it's really amazing when I do travel around to these places and do these appearances, the conversations that I have with people that were kids then, and then the conversations that I have with their parents.
It was a funny line you had tonight.
That were really fans back then. Yeah, and it's a true story.
The crushes.
Yeah, and the sea of red is really remarkable.
It is impressive.
And you can watch them on the road in other cities. And there's a lot of Phillies fans. There is a passion for baseball in Philadelphia like I've never seen before. And I guess it's obvious they should be with this team that has won a championship and won the division the last 3 and been to the World Series the last 2 of 3.
It's pretty easy. As you see, there's people haven't forgotten you.
I'll tell you what, there's a few of them been out at some of these appearances. Where in the heck did you get this?
Well, these players are likable.
Yeah,
and they're talented, and you can see why the town loves this team.
And chemistry, too. You guys have chemistry. These guys have chemistry as well.
And they're fun to watch. And, through all of the ups and downs and the injuries that they've gone through and just everything. At the end of the day, these guys, I think, really go out there. They're professionals, and they figure out a way to win the ball game.
Raul Ibanez is the batter, and the count is 1-1 strike. Who's your favorite player to watch now on the Phillies, Dutch?
Well, a few of them are hurt. I have to look out there and see who's not on the DL right now, Tommy. Actually, I mean, the core that they've had with Rollins and Nutt and the big piece, obviously they've tried to build their club around it. Shane Victorino has come in, Jason Worth, and Raul and Chooch. I mean, I really don't have a favorite, but the thing that I really miss is seeing these guys playing healthy for any length of time this year.
You know, I had a nice talk with Charlie about you before the game, and he brought up how much he still remembers you hitting that home run against the Indians for Florida, and it still ticks him off.
Yeah. Ibanez lifts one toward left. Pagan back toward the track. Now he comes in and he has to make a basket catch. Wow. Boy, the wind really took hold of that one, and it made it a circus play. And the side is retired. Dutch,
Tommy,
great seeing you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. You guys are always wonderful. Wills, love you guys. Thank you.
All right, Darren Dalton, the newest addition to the Phillies Wall of Fame. Great weekend ahead. September 15th, 1969. Steve Carlton struck out 19 Mets, but gave up 2 home runs to what player?
I got it.
The answer will be revealed in the 7th inning. It was a very confident response on your part. So we'll wait till the 7th, but Wheels has it already, folks. So the contest is over. Hey, look who stopped by. Tommy Greene's in the booth with us. Tommy, welcome aboard.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. It's nice to see you down on the field, honoring Dutch before the ball game.
It's been a long time since I've been out there, so it's good.
How neat was it, though, to be part of that tonight?
Well, for Dutch, it means a lot to me. What he meant to me as a young player when I first got here. I mean, I looked up to that. He was the leader, and I learned a lot from it.
Hey, it's a year of the no-hitter in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Oh, isn't it?
And you have one.
Yes, I was talking to Roy in the dugout, I said, hey, congratulations, welcome to the family. I wish I had what he had, though.
Well,
I probably walked his mama that night if she was batting.
You pitched a great game that afternoon up there in Montreal. It just all fell together, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. You make me think of that day. I think of Harry.
Yeah.
So Harry, I mean, that was a big day. Him and his Carolina blue tee he told me he had with him, and that meant a lot to me.
He used to call you Tita.
Tita.
All the time. Tita Greene.
Yeah.
Here's Luis Castillo with a runner at first and nobody out here in the top of the 3rd. Phillies lead at 1-0. The bunt play. Polanco charges, has time, 1 out. Up to second goes Francoeur. Well, let's take a listen.
Hard ground ball, great grab, Greene. It's over.
game, making the final out himself.
That was one of them catch it or die things. You know?
You see Tim Wallach's reaction when you caught it because he thought it was a hit.
Well, I told him here, hit it. You know, that's why I mean, people don't realize I lost 3 of them in minor leagues with 2 outs, 2 strikes in the last inning. You know, and the one person I thought of that night, and a lot of people don't know this, was my pitching coach with the Braves, Leo Mazzoni.
Yeah.
And he always asked me, he's like, when you going to finish? He didn't put it in these words. I mean, he's got his, he says, when you going to finish one of these things off? You know, and I said, well, I'm not letting it go to 2 strikes no more. Here, hit it. You know, let's go after him. You know?
Well, and we thought about that when Roy was pitching his perfect game this year. How hard that last inning and that last batter has got to be.
I mean, I know. I put myself back. I didn't really realize, you know, that game for me was a 1-0 ball game to the 9th inning, and I knew I was I was spot starting that night.
Yep.
You know, and it was how long could I go, you know, and what I could do, and I was like, I'm just going out after area. I realized probably after the 7th inning that you know I got something special going. I didn't really realize it. You know, I had that reliever frame of mind, you know. So,
well, Mike Sweeney just retired. Jonathan Neese, as the runner goes over to third. We were talking to Dutch about you guys coming back and being part of this ceremony. When you see those guys, particularly on a night like this, I mean, what kind of memories does that bring back?
There's a lot of emotion because there's a lot of good times, you know. And there's a lot of pain because we had a lot of good times.
We were kind of talking about that.
I know I did.
That was Dutch a little while ago, yeah.
But no, but our ball, and Wills knows just as good as I mean. I was, Will saw me enough. I lived at the ballpark, and I stayed there. And there was a lot of times that I didn't leave the ballpark. I stayed here. I really did. And on the road I did the same thing. San Francisco of all places, but. I remember a lot of the little things about that. There's that group of guys with these guys. There's a lot of connections with that and the mentality of those players. I was talking to Dev Hollins about that a while ago. How much his intensity had affected me as a pitcher, and has also affected me as a teacher of, the young guys I deal with. As a pitching coach.
Well, that's all part of that great chemistry that you guys had with that team.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And to me, it comes back on the leader. And that's what Dutch was. When I come here, he was the man. And that's the way I looked at him. He was the guy. If I needed to talk to somebody about anything, I knew I could go to him. But he was, the one that when he said something, it was gold. And that's where it ended. So.
Back toward the middle. That's going to tie the ball game up as Reyes will bring home Jeff Francoeur. So it's 1-1 here in the top of the third.
You got to retire kind of young with the injuries that you had. Is it tough to leave the game?
We talked about. I was talking about something earlier about that. That's the only thing. I retired on my terms. Because I knew I did all I could do, rehabbing, and people knew my work ethic here. Lee Thomas and Jim and Fergosi and Coop and everybody. It wasn't a fact of effort. It was the fact that I was dealt a bad hand of cards, but once I went through the process, I was good when I walked away. It bothered me for a little while. I was bitter at the game a little bit, because I worked so hard and then, I got to pitch in Philadelphia in front of the best fans ever, and I tended to pitch good here, overall. And hopefully they remember some of that.
I always thought one of the things you'd miss as much as anything was hitting because you could hit.
I do miss that, I look back in the old days, I said, it makes me wish I went to college so I could play the game.
Ben Francisco settles under it, makes the grab. The sign is retired. The Mets have tied it on the base hit by Jose Reyes. Tommy, enjoy this weekend, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Great seeing you.
It was great to see Wheels. Love you, pal.
Yeah, love to see you too, man.
Tommy Greene, our guest up here in the booth. Alumni Weekend's kicked off in a big way. The Phils and the Mets tied at 1. Grab your bag. It's on. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEF now. And by your local Dodge dealers. A sold-out crowd here at Citizens Bank Park. A gorgeous night for baseball. And the Phillies and the Mets tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the third. As Placido Polanco leads it off. It'll be Polanco, Sweeney, and Worth. And that first pitch is over for a strike, and it's 0-1.
Good to see those guys. Well, they were quite a bunch, Tommy.
Those aren't the last of them, Wills.
I'll tell you, I'm glad I'm over here and not over with them.
Well, now you'd be okay over there. It's just later on that might be a problem.
I'd say for here. They were something.
They were something. Oh. They still are, in their own way. 2-1 the count to Polanco. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Paul Pappas of Burnville, Pennsylvania. The Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game. And Paul will win $100. Polanco pulls it toward the hole. Backhanded by Reyes. Off balance throw. Got it. That's a heck of a throw by Jose Reyes.
He can do it. That guy, he's the biggest hot dog in the game, but boy, he can really play. You just don't teach those kind of things right there. You know, he's just so athletic, and probably doesn't run all that well. But look at the lead and look at the flip he makes. Just flips that thing and gets so much on it, and it's accurate too. Just stole a hit from Placido Polanco. What an unbelievable play.
Well, he's been battling oblique problems. Reyes has, and didn't look like he had any problems at all there.
Well, he didn't think about anything there except he was going to get an out. This game is interesting because the Phillies really had a shot at Nice early, didn't get him, and you know now it's 1-1 and he's starting to settle down a little bit.
And here's Mike Sweeney, who ripped a liner to shortstop his first time up, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Talked about Placido Polanco leading the league in hitting coming into this ball game. Mike Sweeney at one time back in 2002 finished second in the American League in hitting with a .340 batting average, but Reyes will take care of him, and there are 2 outs. So 2 away here in the third. Hey, the Houston Astros will finish up this long stretch of games for the Phillies here at Citizens Bank Park beginning Monday, August 23rd at 7:05. It's a 4-game series. The final game is the Roy Halladay Pride of the Phillies print, part of the Citizens Bank Business Person Special. Get your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. 2 outs, and Jason Worth is the hitter. Jason walked back to the first. He got a piece of it to stay alive, and it remains 0-2. Well, during the 2010 season, Turkey Hill will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Hot shot right past Reyes. He can't grab that one. And Jason Worth is aboard with a 2-out single. He must be very happy to be out of Sun Life Stadium.
Yeah, he really struggled down there, and he did a good job. You could just hear these thuds that are going on with the way that Nice is pitching these guys inside. All these right-handed hitters with these cutters. He looks like Al Leiter when he used to wear that uniform. Almost everything is hard in, and you know, he was missing a lot earlier, and now not as much.
So Jason's on first, and here is Ben Francisco. Ben walked his first time up.
He goes in there again with one.
Yeah, and that's where he was missing in the first inning, to the point where he walked Jason and then Francisco.
And we got a look last inning about what that wind's doing in left field. Pagan somehow caught that ball, because that thing, he thought it was in the seats when it started out off the bat. And who hit that? Jimmy Ron? We're doing so many interviews.
That was Ibanez.
Ibanez. When Raul hit that thing, I think he thought that thing was out of the ballpark. He went all the way back to the wall, and then it was like the wind right here. See, and now it hits a wall.
Whoa!
That is a tremendous play.
It's a really good catch. Yep.
That thing's coming down like a parachute at that point.
2-0 the count to Francisco. And that's on the outside corner. Wheels, we've seen a couple of balls boxed by the catcher tonight. Josh Tolley, he doesn't seem all that comfortable catching those pitches.
No, they say he's much more comfortable catching knuckleballs. That's Sunday. Look out down the third baseline too with these cutters.
Where'd that go? Where'd the ball go? That's the gentleman who had it in his hands and he dropped it. And that gentleman there was going to be nice enough to give it to him. Quick toss over to first.
You mentioned Nice. Nobody has stolen on him this year. Only 4 attempts. He's really quick to the plate with a slide step, and he has a good move.
It is as close to a balk move as you're going to see from a lefty. There it is again.
Yeah, and that wasn't even a good one. That one, he did go towards the plate a little bit, but not the way he will do sometimes. And, where it's in that area where maybe it's a balk and maybe it isn't. But he's hard to read. He works off that third base side and just pounds these guys inside. You don't see many left-handers commit to this and stay to it the way he does.
Yeah, a lot of times lefties will start on the third base side because they want to. Rich Doobie was saying it makes them seem closer to the right-handed hitters.
Yeah, and they like to work away, with change-ups.
There's ball 4. Jason was going, of course, on the pitch, and it's the second walk for Francisco. Hey, Monday at 8 on the Comcast Network, catch a real Phillies sports classic, the 87 Fiesta Bowl, featuring Penn State against Jerome Brown, Michael Irvin, and Jimmy Johnson's bad boy Miami Hurricanes. Plus, watch for your chance to win a Joe Paterno autographed football. That's Monday at 8, only on the Comcast Network.
That game started with like about an 8-yard sack by John Schaefer by Jerome Brown. Didn't start real well.
Did you do some research on it today?
No, I remember it. Because I remember seeing that play thinking,
we're in trouble.
I think that Miami team might have had like 8 number 1 picks on it, too. They were really good, but not good enough that night.
Here's Carlos Ruiz, who struck out with the bases loaded his first time up. And Tolley's going to go out to the mound. Reyes is going to join him as well. Ruiz is 7 for 14 since the 26th of July with runners in scoring position. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Cardinals are putting a whooping on the Marlins. That game's in the bottom of the 4th. John Jay is 3 for 3 with 3 runs scored. I think everything's staying in fair territory down there tonight.
Yeah, they may have a little hangover working tonight from that game. That had to hurt the Florida Marlins.
Toward right field. Coming on his friend Core. Leans down, makes the grab. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 2 men left. Phillies have stranded 6 through the first 3. We go to the 4th. next-day delivery, and in many locations, free same-day delivery. WB Mason is the one office supplier that really delivers. Who but WB Mason? Well, it's Alumni Weekend here at the ballpark. Of course, the Wall of Fame ceremony that took place prior to tonight's game, and a number of alums will be here throughout the weekend. The bases have the Alumni Weekend logo. That's a pretty neat touch. Speaking of alums, Gary Matthews joins us here in the booth from the top of the fourth. See all the logos the Phillies have had over the years. Count as 1 ball and 1 strike to Carlos Beltran. Did you get a chance to catch up with the guy that made you such a good defensive left fielder? Oh, nice play by Blank. How about him? Quick as a cat tonight on the mound.
Well, of course. And just talk with him a little bit. He was running a little bit late, as he usually does.
Gary Maddox. We're talking about Gary Maddox, of course. Gary Maddox was a great defensive center fielder. How about Joe Blanton's defense here, Sarge?
Got to be able to field your position there. The ball on the outside usually will come right up the middle. Doesn't panic. Nice toss to first base.
Now with 1 away, here's David Wright. David popped out to Ruiz his first time up. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. Good pitch by Blanton. Evens up the count at 1-1.
It's amazing how many of the guys are still in really pretty good shape when you look at them.
I absolutely agree with you on that one. Mike Schmidt looks unbelievable. Steve Carlton looks good. You said we talked about Gary Maddox and how good he looks. Here comes Mike Schmidt.
Well, there he is, a little bit late, too.
Look at the face he makes as he comes out of the dugout.
He's too much.
And then he decided to swing left-handed as he was up on the podium. Mike could beat Tardy, though. He has, he's the greatest home run hitter in Phillies history.
Oh, without a doubt. Great player, defensively, too.
Just off the outside corner, it's 2-2.
Pretty good pitch.
Greatest home run hitter in Phillies history, has the same sweet swing from the left side of the plate. Wright tries to check. They appeal. No swing, says Tim Welke. Line drive. That's a base hit for David Wright. Banez gets to it quickly. Wright is around first. He's going to hold up there. That ends an 0 for 16 streak for David Wright. Well, later on this month, the San Francisco Giants will visit Philadelphia for a 3-game series. All 3 ball games are scheduled to begin at 7:05. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com. The Giants, the leader in the wild card. They lead the Phillies by 1.5 games as play got underway tonight.
Glenn made two pretty good pitches there, Tom. Excuse me.
There's a looper that's going to be over the head of Jimmy Rollins and in front of Ibanez. That's not a bad pitch there either.
No, making pretty good pitches. Jammed the hitter on that one. But even David Wright, fastball outside, then he threw him a breaking ball. Ends up hanging the hit. That's a good pitch. Inside part of the plate. He fights it off with him. Good hitters again. Real good jam from time to time.
And if Raul Ibanez did not get to that ball as quickly as he did, David Wright would have gone to third. He was thinking about it. Here's Tolley. He grounded back to the box his first time up.
Choking up pretty much on the bat. Don't see a lot of hitters do that. Usually the hitters are at the end of the knob. When you choke up, what that does for you is it gives you a little better bat control. Believe it or not, Rusty Staubs used to choke up with the New York Mets.
A little better bat control, but you can use a bigger bat, correct?
Well, yes, usually they would, but again, Barry Bonds choked up, believe it or not. So, and his bat was a little bit more conventional, but you're right. A lot of hitters and choking up, and especially the infielders kind of back in the day would choke up and just try and hit line drives.
Back toward the middle, and it's just past Valdez. Around third is right, and the Mets are going to take the lead. An RBI for Tolle, his 7th of the year.
Well, here's that third hit in a row, right up the middle. We talk about that. Oh, it's up the middle. Have a chance to get right through as right comes into your pitcher.
Well, now with the Mets on top by 1, here's Francoeur, who had been 4 for his last 32 before his base hit his last time up. And the man hacks. He fouled that ball right off the home plate umpire, Mike DeMuro.
A fastball hitter, Jeff Francoeur is. Looking for that ground ball double play. You can see that ball right in and hit Ruiz and
DeMuro right on the arm.
Okay, those foul tips are never good.
Highest percentage of swings in the National League. Jeff Francoeur at 58%.
And that means he's hacking just about on every pitch he sees. High fastballs, breaking balls.
A lot of catchers on that list, Sarge. Ivan Rodriguez, Miguel Olivo, Rod Barajas.
And pretty good hitters. This is where he needs to stop the bleeding. You don't want any more damage done.
Towards center field. That is a towering shot. Look at the movement on that ball. Worth makes the catch. Tagging from second is Ike Davis. And there are 2 outs.
Just another way to get a runner over. Deep fly ball. Ball doesn't always have to be hit to the opposite side. That deep fly ball will do the trick. Got away with a pitch right there. So he got full extension on it. Just missed that. And Worth battling that wind as he corrals that ball.
And that'll bring Castillo to the plate. He sacrificed his last time up, although he was bunting for a hit. But he moved the runner up to scoring position. It was Francoeur, and Francoeur wound up scoring 2 batters later on a base hit by Reyes. Ike Davis is at third. Over at first, Josh Tolle. Two outs here at the top of the 4th. Right side to his left, Valdez. He's got it, and Castillo's retired, and so is the side. 1 run on 3 straight hits for the Mets. They strand 2, middle of the 4th. It's the Mets 2, Phillies 1. Philadelphia area Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDealer.com. By Xfinity, it's TV, phone, and internet reinvented from Comcast. And by Toyota. There are many reasons to buy a Toyota, and now's the perfect time to get yours during Toyota's National Clearance Event. Day one of Alumni Weekend here at this beautiful ballpark. A sold-out crowd. And the Mets lead it 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the fourth. 8-9-1 due up for the Phillies. The alumni celebration continues tomorrow. Sarge, you go to a lot of different places where you see some of your old jerseys, some of the team's old jerseys, whether it be with the Phillies or the Giants or the Braves. Does it bring back a lot of memories?
Oh, absolutely. And you also wonder how they end up getting those uniforms that they had on your back. And you see them all over, whether or not, it was with the Cubs, Phillies, Giants. You see a lot of the guys that have those uniforms.
No balls and 2 strikes to Valdez.
They got to start making this guy get that ball up a little bit in the zone. He doesn't have pitches for me that are able to just continually get you out without you hitting that ball hard somewhere.
He's only allowed 2 runs in 10 innings against the Phillies this year.
That's amazing. It really is. And again, sometimes you catch a club not swinging the bat as well as they normally would.
Well, to his credit, he is getting it inside to them, and they're close to being strikes. Some are, some aren't. And that's why his splits are so close together. 32 balls, 36 strikes. Swing and a miss. And Valdez is rung up for the first out. 3rd strikeout for Nice.
Well, just a little curve ball up in the zone. I will say, though, that one was a good pitch as that ball broke down pretty hard. Hitter thinking that ball may be a fastball getting out in front as it dips there.
Blanton struck out his first time up. And he's behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Nice. And that's 4 Ks in the game. And we head back to the top of the order. Visit the official online shop of the Phillies at Phillies.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia like Sarge's old jersey, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear straight from the official source, the Phillies.com shop. Except no substitutes. Here's Jimmy Rollins. He's walked and he has grounded out. 0 for 1. Would you have ever imagined the day, Sarge, back in your day as a player, when you would see so many people, let's say, just wearing your jerseys?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, I'm amazed at all the ballparks that we go to that they usually have their favorite athlete on their back, meaning they're a uniform top, and that's both men and women.
And a called strike 3. Jonathan Nice has just struck out the side here in the bottom of the 4th. 5 strikeouts for Nice in the ballgame. He's retired 4 in a row. This is the last one. A little paint on the outside part of the plate. Phillies trail 2-1 as we go to the top of the 5th, and Jonathan East leads it off against Joe Blanton. And up here in the booth, we're joined by former Phil shortstop Kevin Stockers in town as part of the alumni weekend, and Dutch is induction into the Wall of Fame. How you doing?
I'm good. This is great to be back. I haven't seen the new ballpark for me.
Oh, you hadn't been here?
No. The last time I was here 10 years ago, do I dare say that? It was half done at the time. So, no, this is great. Brought the whole family. They love it.
It is pretty impressive, though, just to look around and see all the people. I mean, just the crowds and everything like that.
Yeah, people ask me all the time about ballparks, and I don't know about you, but I've always loved the new ballparks.
Yeah.
When I'm in 93, 94, parks were just starting to come in. I was always a big fan of the new ones. I didn't want the old smelly, dusty one. Yeah, a little bit. I know that sounds bad, but you and I might disagree on that.
Oh, no, not at all. I like the new ones, too, because it's a lot shorter porch to hit it.
I knew he was going there.
There's no doubt about that.
See, we have different reasons.
Well, absolutely, but I like that little short porch where balls aren't hitting against the wall. They're getting out.
That's right.
And I'm sure Mike would like that too.
There's a liner towards center. Jason Worth settles on and makes the grab. 2 outs.
Kev, I wanted to ask you, too, on your team there in 93, what makes a leader? And I know everybody said that Dalton had led the team, and he was an integral part about that and making other guys play harder. What makes a guy be able to do that where the teammates will follow him?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to be, when you talk or have something to say, it's not just words coming out and just talking. It's when you say something, you have something to say. That's what Dalton was for me. Now, it's a little different probably for everybody. I'm not exactly sure all of his meetings with Schilling on the mound and what they were saying or that sort of thing. But for me, I could go to him and ask him a question, and it was always an answer with less than 10 words, but it was something that I did, and it worked every time. At the same time, Darren was great at taking pressure off of young guys, and I was young at the time. Mm-hmm. If I had the press in my face, which there are many games, man, when I stunk it up out there, they hound you around your locker, and Darren was real good about, hey, come talk to me. I'm the guy you want to talk to, and he'd take that pressure off.
Well, that is a true leader.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because Kevin was young, but there were some veterans on that team who would probably say the same thing, so his influence was felt by everybody.
Absolutely, and he wasn't a rah-rah guy unless he had to be. Now, he'd call his team meetings, and I never heard him yell, raise his voice. It was just stern, to the point, meeting done, let's go. And that's how it was, and I love that.
Well, Angel Pagan is the batter with 2 outs. The count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. And he loops one toward left. Ibanez comes in. Jimmy goes out. It's Raul who makes the catch. And the side is retired. That was a really fast top of the 5th. Joe Blanton liked that. And we'll keep Kevin along for the bottom of the 5th. The Phillies trail at 2-1. Placido Blanco, Raul Ibanez, Mike Sweeney due up when we get back. September 6th. It's a 4-game series now because it's a day-night doubleheader on the first ball game. The night game of that day-night doubleheader is a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night. Get your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. Phillies really have had the Marlins number down in South Florida, and they're trying to do the same here in Philly. Jonathan Neese has kind of had the Phillies number lately. He's Retired the last 4, including 3 strikeouts in a row, as Raul Ibanez leads it off here in the bottom of the 5th. And Raul takes 2 breaking balls for strikes, and it's 0-2.
All of a sudden now he's got confidence in that breaking ball and throwing it. That's what usually happens too. Want you to get to think about maybe a couple of pitches, but stay with your strength as a hitter.
Back up the middle, off the glove of Neese, but Reyes is right there. So 1-6-3 on the putout. Speaking of shortstops, Kevin Stocker is joining us up here in the booth for another half inning. Shortstop in the right place at the right time there, Kev.
Well, yeah, and it's funny, we get talking about shortstop. People ask me the difference sometimes between what we just see a major league shortstop and a college guy. There was no panic.
Oh, no.
You know, he just took his time. He had plenty of time. He knows everything. So you see the ball go off his hand. There's no panic. He knows who's running. He knows what he has to do. And you don't see that at the college level. Right there, most of the time you'll see balls sail over the head. So.
Well, here's Placido Polanco, and he hits the first pitch foul, and it's no balls and 1 strike. I asked Sarge this before. When you see some of your former teammates on, let's say, an alumni weekend, I mean, does it sweep back the memories right away? When you see these guys, like when you see, you know, Krucker out there and you see Jim Eisenreich and guys like that.
It does sweep them back. It's great. In fact, unfortunately, it tends to kind of go, oh, hey, I can still play. Let's go, guys. Let's get outside. You know, but then you realize, okay, wait, we're a bunch of old guys. But it does. What I love about the guys in the 93, and I'm sure it's the same for you, is it just seems like it was yesterday. You know, we're out there bantering back and forth, that 93 team, and I was one of the few, if the only clean-cut guy on that stinking team. But
Big Krucker wasn't clean.
No, you can't just and he's the first one to admit it. But the banter's still there, and guys don't take each other seriously. You know, we can joke around and have fun like it just happened yesterday. It's
That's
great.
good, though.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, that's good, because that means you guys were so together.
Yeah.
I mean, it sort of carries over year after year.
Yeah, and it's fun too because we get a chance to see each other at fantasy camp, and our kids are getting older. Hey, how's your kids doing? And everybody's got, you know, it's a lot of fun.
What do you remember about Larry Anderson?
Larry Anderson. Boy, there are many things I wish I could forget. You know, it's just but you know what I remember about Larry is one, he kept things loose. I really like that. He was an older guy on the team. I was one of the youngest guys on the team, but he made me feel the same. Right. And Larry could literally joke and laugh all the way up to when he had to come on and pitch, and then he could flip a dial and throw that slider and get guys out, and then he'd be pulled out of the game, and he's up there pouring, you know, ketchup on himself. So that's what I remember about Larry.
Now he's just spilling it on himself.
Now he's just spilling it.
Yeah.
Now he can't help it.
Well, it's funny you said, Kevin, how young you were that year, and I would think that because they talk about how you stabilize things by coming up and playing shortstop. As Sweeney hits one towards center, Beltran has a beat on it, and it's pretty good to have that memory of being able to stabilize things.
Yeah, and it was great that they took the pressure off. I didn't have to hit, even though I did. You know, I remember getting the finger in my chest saying, don't worry about hitting, just catch the ball. And that's what I concentrated on, and it made it a lot easier.
Great seeing you, Kevin.
You too. Thanks, guys.
All right, Kevin Stocker, our guest here in the booth. The Mets lead it 2-1 as we go to the top of the 6th. Work. There are no signs of him cooling off during the dog days of August.
Jason is off and running for the final 2 months of the season, and he is connected at the plate with consistency from the heart of the Phillies lineup. There were rumors of Jason moving on last week, but he is a Philly, and a very productive one at that. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. We're here for you every step of the way. Oh, we got a pitcher's duel brewing here at Citizens Bank Park. 2-1 New York as we move to the top of the 6th. 3 runs and 9 hits between the two clubs. Joe Blanton will face the middle of the Mets order as we start the 6th. Beltran pops it up. Left side of the infield. He's done a pretty good job, Sergeant, jamming Beltran tonight.
Yeah, and it's hard for him to use his legs. He does wear a brace. Then the hitter will hit with his legs, and you're not feeling comfortable with that. Hard to get that bat through. You start using just your arms, and he's had a difficult time in coming back. Plus, they've been losing games with him in the lineup.
Well, that is absolutely true, and I would think it's scary for somebody who has such ability as Carlos Beltran to have that kind of a knee injury where you have to wear that brace, because speed is such a big part of his game too.
Absolutely. He's lost some steps in center field. Don't know why he hasn't been moved to one of the corner spots.
Right up the third base line. That's a fair ball. Polanco off balance throw. Nice stretch by Sweeney. 2 away. That's a heck of a play all the way around.
Well, it sure is, though. Polanco coming in, swinging bunt there for David Wright, still pulling off of that ball some. Polanco coming in and catching that ball, and Sweeney's acting like he's been playing first base there the whole time as he stretches there. Take a look at it. He surrounds that ball and comes up with that throw. No, he didn't try and barehand it because he knew David Wright, not a fast runner, and just wanted to be very accurate with the throw, in which he was.
Well, with 2 outs, here's Ike Davis. 1 for 2 today. And he takes a fastball for strike 1. Davis is one of the talented rookies that the National League East has to offer this year, with 15 home runs and 53 runs batted in. But he's hit just .217 on the road this year.
Well, they've had a difficult time in hitting, but that disease has been all over the league just about. Guys just not hitting the way that they normally hit.
Swing and a miss, and he got him. Good pitch. Back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for Joe Blanton. He's retired 8 straight. Let's see if the offense can get back into the ball game for Big Joe as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Drink of the Phillies. By McDonald's, introducing strawberry, banana, and wild berry real fruit smoothies. Try a small for just $2.29 only at McDonald's. I'm loving it. By Pennsylvania Lottery, get your game face on. Play the Pennsylvania Lottery's new Philadelphia Eagles Instant Game You must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly. And buy Suzuki and the new Kazashi midsize sports sedan. Suzuki, the power of engineering. Last of the 6th. Phillies fans hoping their offense can pick up where they left off before they went on this last road trip, which didn't start well, but ended quite nicely for the Phillies.
Well, good thing Carlos Ruiz, the catcher, was just on fire, coming up with clutch hit after clutch hit.
Well, speaking of Carlos, he'll be up third in this inning. It'll be Jason Worth, Ben Francisco, Carlos Ruiz.
That's what makes this team so outstanding at times, because they have different guys that can carry the ball club as a wicked line drive gets into the stands.
You know, there have been a lot of stories written the last couple of days in New York about all the injuries the Mets had last year and that they couldn't sustain, you know, any kind of consistency. The Phillies have had all the injuries that they can handle this year, and they're starting to maintain that consistency. And you know, a lot of folks have asked, well, what's the difference? And I think chemistry is one of the big differences, Sarge.
Well, chemistry has a lot to do with it, no doubt. But I think a lot for me has to do with the players that you have on the bench. I mean, you take Globe, for instance, that has come in. He's giving you solid at-bats from that left side. No, he's not like Ryan Howard, but he hits the ball hard. He hits line drive. And consequently, you don't lose as much. You don't replace a Ryan Howard, and especially at this time of the season. Same as Sweeney. He's a guy that, for me, can handle, without a doubt, left-handed pitching. And when he gets hot, you'll see he'll be able to carry the ball club.
Well, you see where the Phillies were after the last meeting on May 27th and the Mets and what they've done since. And Jason Worth has rung up for another strikeout for Nice, his 6th. And Phillies were in first by a game and a half. The Mets were 2 games back. And since that time, the Phillies are 6 over 500. The Mets are 2 under 500. And they are 8 games back.
Wow. Wow. Their backs are against the wall, New York Mets. But they seem to get up when they play the fighting fields, no matter what. New York has a problem with a lot of the other teams.
There's a line drive towards center right at Beltran. And there are 2 outs. Hey, Phillies fans, this season it's easier than ever to find seats you want or sell tickets to the games you can't make on StubHub, the official fan ticket marketplace of the Phillies. Go to StubHub.com and choose your seats today.
StubHub!
Well, today is the 92nd consecutive sellout here at Citizens Bank Park, so I'm sure a lot of the folks have utilized StubHub and will continue to utilize StubHub. Ruiz, a chopper right through the hole and into left field. Maybe that'll break things up a little bit.
Now I need to get a few hits and put those together. Guys are having a difficult time, Tom, picking up that curveball. If you want to be a good curveball hitter, very simple. Hit the fastball. Don't even get to it.
Have to admit, though, Nice has not really shown a lot of fastballs.
Well, he's gotten in love, fallen in love with that breaking ball.
There is a fastball, and Castillo makes the leaping grab, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. Sarge, it was a blink of an eye, and you're out of here.
Thanks.
We go to the 7th.
Well, time now for the Verizon Wireless game summary. Not a whole lot of scoring. Wind blowing in. Nobody's really taking advantage of the wind blowing out to right center yet. And good pitching by the starters, Joe Blanton, Jonathan Neese. Phillies had a shot at Neese early and could have gotten a lot more off him. Didn't get it. The guy's really settled down. So, and that's have bled out a couple runs here tonight. Lead it 2-1.
Well, Josh Tolley's base hit his last time up. Gave them that 2-1 lead. Joe Blanton's been good, though. He's retired the last 8 batters. He's scattered 6 hits over 6. And there's a pretty good breaking pitch that just misses, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, then he gave up that go-ahead run. You figure it looked like he had Wright struck out.
He did, yep.
And he didn't get it. And then Davis hit a blooper, and then Tolley hit that, seeing eye up the middle, and there's a catcher beating one off his foot, and they really need that, don't they?
Well, this has been a pitcher strike zone tonight for Mike DeMuro, but he has been consistent behind the plate. And Joe's been consistent too. 19 first pitch strikes in this ballgame.
How many? Well, I shouldn't ask you how many, but weren't there a lot of called thirds?
There were.
Roy Halladay. Well, this was the guy. He'll expand a little bit. And look at the way this game's flying along.
2-2 the count. It'll be Tolley, Francoeur, and Castillo. 6, 7, and 8 for the Mets. Rod Barajas is on the disabled list. A lot of folks will say thank goodness to that, because he's really hit the Phillies well since he left Philadelphia.
Killed him.
And that's why Tolley is up from the minor leagues. They thought he'd be up at some point this year. At least that was the expectation once spring training came around. Another foul ball. And it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Red Sox lead the Yankees 6-3 in the bottom of the 6th. David Ortiz, his 24th home run. Red Sox are playing the rest of the year without Kevin Youkilis.
Freak injury he had the other night. Huh?
That's amazing. I mean, they thought maybe he'd be out for the same amount of time as Chase Utley, but he's going to need surgery that will keep him out for the rest of the year and through the playoffs.
Well, if it's the same type of thing through the playoffs, yeah, because Utley was 8 to 10 weeks. And if you did 8 to 10 weeks, then what would that take you in October?
Yeah. There's Chase, who got that guard off of his hand, which means that he can start throwing a little bit more. He's been taking ground balls. That's good news. On the outside corner, called strike 3. Good pitch.
Tolley took a look around at DeMuro, and then it was better not.
I've been getting that pitch all night.
Right, we've been getting the same thing, so I'll give up an at bat here. Yeah, that pitch is outside. It's on the other side of his shin guard. And I know it's where it crosses the front of the plate, but that would have had to do some kind of physics.
Off the finger of Blanton, barehanded, and dropped by J-Roll. Francoeur's aboard. That'll be a base hit, and Rich Doobie quickly goes out to the mound.
All right, as soon as you see a pitcher do that, it's like, oh my.
Scott Sheridan, the Phillies athletic trainer, goes out as well.
Why do they reach out like that?
I think it's tough not to reach out,
It is, but I know when you talk about instinct and all that, but pitchers will tell you they know they shouldn't do this. They got fielders there for that. Now, he thinks that thing's up the middle, but if Jimmy Rollins had a heck of a chance to get to it. It wouldn't hit that hard. Just hopefully Joe's okay. And he says he is, so that's good.
And he immediately turned around and waved Rich Doobie and Scott Sheridan off, but Mike DeMuro is going to allow him to throw a few pitches. He seems to be content. I have a lot of time, I guess, to think as that ball goes back to the box like that. But we've seen many a pitcher break a finger or break a hand doing something like that. Here's Castillo.
And he got away with it. That's the good news.
With a looper back at third. Polanco saw it right away. 2 outs.
We talked in the keys of the game tonight about innings, and hopefully Joe could give them innings tonight, because that bullpen has really been used a lot for those games in Florida, and he's done just that. He's the pitcher away from getting the pitcher out to go through 7.
Well, after the series against the Mets, the Phillies will have the off day on Monday, and then they welcome in the Dodgers for a 3-game series. All 3 games are at 7:05. Get your tickets now. There are seats still available for all 3 of those ball games. Dodgers have been up and down all season long. Go to Phillies.com at any time to purchase your tickets. As Neese takes a fastball upstairs, it's 1-0. Did you see how that graphic just popped up there like that? Well, Barry Sell is our technical director. Barry's the one who punches the buttons when J.R. Aquila says, "Give me camera 3. Give me camera 4. He'll punch up the cameras and stuff like that. Well, Barry's back tonight. He's been out for the last few weeks, and it's nice to have him back.
Well, that is a very talented bunch across the street that we're lucky enough to have. Trying to make us look good night after night. We appreciate it.
Barry also, I believe, presses the buzzer.
Oh, is that right?
I think he might.
Oh, he's not going to press it tonight.
That's not him.
Yeah. You got buzzed.
I wanted to hear the buzzer, so.
I got a shot at it tonight, I think.
Well, when the question comes back up, Barry's going to pop the question back up for us.
Right. Barry's the guy they're talking about that hasn't been around because they haven't had crab cakes for a while.
That's exactly right.
I heard about that.
Crab cakes are here, and so is Barry. We go to the bottom of the 7th. It's time to stretch here in Philadelphia. Answer. Wheels on September 15th, 1969. Steve Carlton struck out 19 Mets but gave up 2 home runs to what player?
I believe this is a player that in Mets lore does not go down for that, but for a famous sliding catch in the outfield.
I would believe you are correct.
That would be Ron Swoboda.
Ron Swoboda hit 2 two-run home runs that day. He only hit 9 home runs that entire year.
Lefty lost that game 4-3.
I believe he did.
He lost that game with
19 strikeouts.
And that was the old Busch Stadium. It was deep in the alleys in those days.
Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. And thanks for playing Dodge Stump the Fans. Well, we begin the bottom of the 7th. Joe Blanton's night is done. John Mayberry is pinch hitting for the Phillies. As Chad Durbin is up and loosening in the pen. Blanton pitched well tonight. 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 91 pitches. See John's numbers at Lehigh Valley. This is his first at bat in the big leagues this year.
And this is one of the reasons why they want him here, to hit off a left-hander.
Mets have bullpen action as well. That's Manny Acosta former Yankee, former Brave.
Well, you can see it. We were talking about it right before we left. That you could see Nice was starting to get it. Because the first couple innings, he had no command of that cutter. He was throwing it in. They were taking it, walking batters, building up his pitch count. But he's really gotten better, and he's at 99 right now.
On his strikes, his ball-to-strike ratio, which was not good early, is turned out to be really good at this point. Another strikeout, one away. Hey, these lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They were interested in a prize pack, courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. Well, back to the top of the order. Let's see if the Phillies can solve Jonathan Nice the 4th time through.
Another one. It's one after another, just on the thumbs tonight. This is vintage Al Leiter what we're watching in this game. And you notice how many balls they hit foul, too, because they can't keep the ball fair when they swing at that pitch. Either swing over it or hit it foul. Another one.
How do you counter it?
Well, you know, the only way you do is, I guess, as a hitter, you recognize it's not going to be a strike and try to take it. But what he's done now he opens up that backdoor cutter that he's been throwing for call thirds.
Towards center field, a looper. And Beltran makes the catch.
He just stayed in there with Jimmy the whole at bat, jammed him too for a week out, and you have to give Nice credit. You know, he found something here tonight. He's staying with it, and it's really working.
Well, his 2 starts against the Phillies this year, 13 2/3, 2 runs, and 14 strikeouts for a guy that's not really a strikeout pitcher. I mean, he has strikeouts this year, but less than 1 per inning on average.
Sometimes guys will tell you the key to hitting a pitcher like that, if you're right-handers, you know, you open up a little bit and look in there early. And you know, I don't know if they've tried that tonight or not. He has had the upper hand for sure.
Ibanez checks his swing. They want an appeal, but no offer from DeMuro. And it's 2-1. Now they appeal, and no swing, says Bill Walke. Ibanez has been one of the best hitters in the National League since the All-Star break. And we're looking at nearly a month now. He has the 5th best average since the break, 2nd most walks, and he's 4th in on-base percentage. And he's aboard with another walk.
Oh, boy, that pitch has been called a strike at times tonight, too. I don't know how he took that.
Well, Dan Worthen's coming out to the mound. While he does that, we'll let you know that it's time to meet a couple of the key Eagles, a couple of the keys to the Birds' success this season. One from each side of the ball. Tight end Brent Selleck and middle linebacker Stuart Bradley. And meet the Eagles Sunday night at 10:30 following Sports Night, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Well, the Phillies have had only 2 base runners since the 3rd. A single in the 6th with 2 outs by Carlos Ruiz, and now a walk by Ibanez here in the 7th. Jerry Manuel probably thought at one point that he would have to go to the bullpen very early, but that's because Nice was not only giving up hits, but he was also walking guys. In fact, he walked 4 in the first 3 innings, but that's his first walk since the 3rd.
Well, he's staying with the left-hander Nice right now with Polanco. But you would think that if Polanco gets a base hit, gets a runner in a scoring position here, he'll go to that right-hander out there for swinging. And the Phillies could make a move on their own too.
A breaking ball on the outside corner.
Hasn't thrown a whole lot of curveballs tonight. He has thrown them, but you know, showed the ability to get that over. At least it was called a strike.
In the dirt, 1 ball and 1 strike.
To me, Polanco is one of those guys that will think about opening up and hammering one. surprisingly, with all these cutters he's throwing, they're giving him the alley in left center. But I guess they figure he's either going to get jammed and hit it the other way or pull it down the line. See the way that defense is set up.
It's that back toward the middle. It's spinning right to Reyes, and he flips the short way to second to retire the side. No runs, no hits. One man left. Jonathan Neese is through 7. He's allowed just 1 run. We go to the 8th. It's a 1-run game. P. Mason for amazingly low office product prices. By Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. And by Honda. Look for money-saving leases and low financing at your Honda dealer. Sold-out crowd. 92nd consecutive sellout. It's alumni weekend, and Wheels' Kevin Stocker was mentioning how this was his first trip back to Philadelphia as Chad Durbin takes over for Joe Blanton. 39th game for Chad. 2-1 at 3.43 earned run average. It dawned on me, for all those guys that played at the vet that have never seen this place, I mean, they must come in here wide-eyed.
Oh, yeah, they talk about how much they enjoy it. And the guys that hit, you know, they want to hit here.
Well, Kevin Stocker is going to be part of the home run competition on Sunday.
Stock had that most. I don't know what you guys talked to me. Did you talk about his first game here?
No, you know what? We forgot to do that. It was so fast.
20 innings.
Yep. Well, he was trying to get all the kinks worked out.
Mitch blew a save in the 9th inning against the Dodgers, and they went 20 innings that night. Stocker's first game.
0-2 the count to Reyes. Well, he looks like he can still play.
He does.
Although he's wearing flip-flops, so I don't think he can wear flip-flops out on the field.
Still got that West Coast cool working out. So Washington.
In the dirt. That nearly hit Reyes, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He did a great job in '93. They were really scuffling with Juan Bell trying to play shortstop that year. It just wasn't working out. And, you know, Stocker had been with him in spring training. They thought he was getting close, and they didn't want to rush him, but they needed him.
And as he said, they said, just play defense. Yeah, we'll take what you can give us offensively.
Now, he did it. He hit 300, didn't he?
Swing and a miss. Yeah, he had a very good first year. He hit 320.
He's doing some. He's doing some college baseball broadcasting.
He is, yeah. Doing some broadcasting for CBS College Sports. With 1 away, here's Angel Pagan, who has singled. He's also popped out twice. Phillies trail at 2-1. They led it 1-0 after the first. And stranded the bases loaded that inning. And the Mets scored single runs in the 3rd and 4th. And that's been it. Both starters. Joe Blanton was good. Jonathan Neese, who's still in the game, is good.
Well, the Mets have not scored many runs. They have not been a good offensive team. And, you know, they're not scoring much here tonight, but it's enough to this point.
Angel Pagan playing left field for the injured Jason Bay, who's on the disabled list with a concussion. And it's a little high, and it's 3-1.
This guy's been a really good player for them this year. Angel Pagan helped them keep their head way above water there for a while when they were a good team. And he's really come on as a good player. Now Beltran is back and took over his center field position. But Pagan made some catch here tonight when the wind knocked that ball down, or that would have been a run.
There's Nice. They do have bullpen action, so his night might be done again. Bullpen action again, I should say. Toward third base. Polanco to his right, hurries the throw just in time to get Pagan.
See, he can really run. That's one of the. He has a lot of tools. He has some power. He can run. The knock on him when he was with the Cubs a lot of times was he just didn't know how to play. He had no clue how to run the bases, how to move guys over. Just didn't understand the game for some reason. And they tired of. They knew they had a player with tools, so they just had enough of it. And the Mets have hung in there with him, and he evidently is smarter now. Plays the game better.
Well, I think that it's forced them to make some decisions next year too. You know, Jerry Manuel knows that having Carlos Beltran back helps his team if they're healthy, but you know, in the future they may decide that Pagan's their center fielder.
Yeah. Well, Angel Pagan has certainly showed he's an everyday big league player now.
Beltran tonight is 0 for 3. For the second straight batter, Durbin has fallen behind 3-1. Over to the right side, Sweeney diving play from his knees, flips it underhand, and Durbin is there. Mike Sweeney getting reacclimated with first base tonight. He's made some pretty good plays. A couple of big stretches on throws and a big stretch right there to retire Carlos Beltran. 1, 2, 3 go the Mets. We've played 7.5. A little bit of defense again from the Phils. Let's see if the offense can get rolling when we get back. Blood drive Saturday, August 14th from 6 until 2 at Citizens Bank Park. All donors will receive a special edition Chase Utley t-shirt and the opportunity to get their photo taken with the 2008 World Championship and 2009 National League Championship trophies. The Philly Fanatic will be on hand, so will the Philly Ball Girls. Go to redcrossblood.org/Phillies for more information or call 1-800-RED-CROSS. Well, we go to the bottom of the 8th. Phillies trail it by 1, and they will try to come from behind against the Mets bullpen. First up, Bobby Parnell, who will face Mike Sweeney, Jason Worth, and Ben Francisco. Maybe there'll be a pinch hitter mixed in there, but Pedro Feliciano, a left-hander, is up and throwing in the pen for the Mets for whoever that left-hander is.
This Bobby Parnell has some bullets. He can really fire.
He fires outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
This guy can throw between 95 and 100 when he's on. That was 97.
22nd game.
See left-handed hitters get a lot better look at it. Right-handed hitters, man, he's coming after you. 21 hits though in 29 2/3 innings, so you can hit him.
Opposite way, and Sweeney has his first hit as a Philly. Makes a good defensive play, and he leads off the inning with a base hit. Bobby Parnell picked up for Jonathan Neese, who was really good tonight, particularly after the first 2 innings.
Yeah, you know, we talked about his command, that it's always an issue with him, and it was early in this game, and he'd still walk batters, but he used his curveball and that cutter really, really well tonight. He kept in as he did there to Placido Polanco to get him out, and he got a lot of outs tonight just by coming in on a right-handed hitter's hands.
Well, Sweeney will take his lead off first. Here's Jason Worth. And a swing and a miss at a breaking ball. Jason has been on base twice tonight. He's 1 for 2. And he's continued what has been a good run here at this ballpark over the last 20 games. He's hitting close to 380 here at Citizens Bank Park in his last 20 ball games.
Well, he went up there in that first swing and he was going to put the Phillies ahead, which is good thought process, because the wind has died down a little bit now to left and left center. And Parnell and his catcher totally thinking the same thing, and they went slider down to him.
Another slider, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, they're not giving him a fastball to hit.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Giants have taken a 1-0 lead over the Braves on Aubrey Huff's RBI groundout. Giants have won 21 of their last 28 since the 4th of July. To the count. 99 on that fastball.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. I mean, this guy's a legit 95 to 99, maybe even 100 once in a while. And that's not a fast gun either. He just has a great arm.
Now it's 3-2. So Jason has battled back. I think there was a point in this at bat where Jason thought he was struck out, but he's now run it full, 3-2. Then Francisco waits on deck. Mets bullpen has the 7th best ERA in the National League, even with all their issues. 3-2 the count. Jason hits it back toward right center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Sweeney's around second, heading to third. He's going to get there easily.
How about that base runner?
He saw it. He read it perfectly.
Right. But not everybody does.
You got it.
We talk about game after game after game on every team you see in your own team. Guys don't read the ball off the bat. And there's Jimmy appreciating what he did. That's a baseball player play right there. He sees how deep Beltran is. You know, they're playing back with a 1-run lead. So Jason fights that off after a tremendous at bat. Sweeney sees it right there, and off he goes. You know, he's not fast, but you don't have to be fast to be a good base runner.
Just have to give yourself a little bit of an advantage.
You got to have instincts. You got to know how to play, Tom. You know that base running many times is not speed; it's instinct.
Well, now the Mets will play the infield at double play depth with runners on first and third. Francisco's the batter. He's 0 for 1 with a couple of walks. He lined out to center his last time up. The runners lead off the corners.
Interesting, with all these left-handed hitters that are available, they know Feliciano's ready out there. So Charlie is just telling me basically, I like these matchups better. So there he is. He's ready.
And he thought he was coming in.
Well, yeah, he thought there was going to be a left-handed hitter come up sooner or later.
on the inside corner. That's a tough pitch. Phillies are 12 games over 500, their highest mark of the year. Trying to get to 13 games over 500. Francisco slices it foul.
Well, right now they're trying to tie the game.
Yep.
Because they're home. Finally, after that road trip, you tie the game at home. It is a totally different experience. Things you can do.
Dominic Brown lurking. Maybe for Valdez. We'll see. Check swing.
I would have gotten it done.
Would have.
Another good base running by Sweeney. We had this situation last night. There seemed to be some confusion. You know, some of the things I saw written today and talked about. When you have first and third and nobody out, you break from third base. It's not a base running mistake. Because what you're trying to do is stay out of a double play that could quickly go 3-6-3 or something, and then you got a guy standing on third with nobody out. So you break on a ground ball with nobody out. And that's what they did last night. It was not a base running mistake by Ibanez.
Staying alive. Now the thought is on that play, Wheels, and you mentioned it last night, that although the out is recorded at home, you still have a runner in scoring position with 1 out.
1 out. Because you see it happen sometimes. Things happen so fast down there. They'll freeze a guy at third, go boom, boom, 3-6-3, and all of a sudden you have 2 outs and a runner at third.
Ruiz waits on deck. Little flare towards center. That's going to tie the ball game up. Worth is around second. He'll hold up there. Ben Francisco, an RBI single, scores Sweeney. It's a 2-2 game and still nobody out.
Well, that was a great at-bat. He had a slider there, too. After all those hard fastballs, got a breaking ball. And off the end of the bat, the contact. They were playing for a double play. They group it out there. Tremendous at-bat by Ben Francisco. Watch here. I mean, he exits a little bit. They want the slider away. Now watch him open up and exit. But he stayed in enough to get his bat on the ball and bloop that thing into center field. Nice job.
So Sweeney crosses the plate. Francisco with an RBI is 19th of the year. And Carlos Ruiz will be the batter. That was set up by the base running by Sweeney going first to third. Not that he may have scored even from second on that ball, but still.
Tom, what you just said is so it puts more pressure on the pitcher. You've got a guy at third because you're trying to prevent a fly ball. Everything at that point. So that base running is so important in this inning.
Jason Worth is at second. On first is Francisco. Will Carlos bunt? The Mets think so. He doesn't square. 99. Think he'll bunt here?
I don't think he's going to bunt. But they have to. They have to look for it. But I don't know what happened with I don't know what he was doing with that. You know, it wasn't like you had to have an emergency swing with 2 strikes to foul one off.
5 go-ahead RBIs for Ruiz. And it's low, 1-1.
Charlie wants Carlos swinging the bat here right now. You know, you've tied the game, you're at home. Obviously, you want to go ahead. But, you know, he'll take his chances if he hits into a double play. In that he may get a base hit here. And why put it on somebody else like a Valdez or a left-handed hitter that Feliciano's going to face?
Worth is dancing off second. Lays off the slider. 2-1 the count. No swing, says the crew chief, Tim Welke. Carlos is looking over at Sam at third, and he's not laying down any signs.
He's not going to go. Especially now he's ahead in the count. And they'll back up. David Wright just back up at third, and there goes Davis back at first.
Three and one now the count to Ruiz.
Carlos has been so good lately, and this is where you really want to see him patient because you don't have to swing. This is a zone hitting situation where you get your pitch because you still have another one to play with. And he knows that Mets fan.
Getting a little uneasy.
It hasn't gone the way that he wanted it.
Carlos back through the middle, a base hit. Worth is around third. He's going to score. The Phillies are going to take the lead. An RBI single by Ruiz. He did it again.
Well, he's hot. I think you got to love about him, too, is how quick he is and how long he waits. You know, there's no jumping out at pitches.
And here comes Jerry Manuel. Jason Worth scores the go-ahead run. Phillies fans are all smiles right now. You know who else is all smiles? Mick Billmeyer out in the Phillies bullpen. Said to Mick today, Carlos is really swinging a hot bat. He goes, he's really easy to root for. And I think Phillies fans know that too. Bobby Parnell's evening is complete without getting an out. He faced 4 batters. He allowed 4 hits. The Phillies wipe away a 1-run deficit. Carlos Ruiz gives them a 1-run lead with the RBI single up the middle that scores Jason Worth. We got a pitching change here at the ballpark. Now, and it's also up to the Phillies offense, and they've just taken a 1-run lead. And Pedro Feliciano in his 61st game for the Mets. He's 2-6 with a 2.76 earned run average. Now he has struggled lately, and he's on to face Wilson Valdez, who you would assume is going to sacrifice here. And he inherits Ben Francisco at second and Ruiz at first.
And he's a good bunter.
And he bunts toward third. Oh, that's a good bunt. It's going to be a base hit. David Wright left his spot, and Feliciano gave up on it.
Well, it's David Wright. You know, we talked about what you have to do as a third baseman, and that you must read the situation. He read Feliciano fielding that ball, so he retreats. And Feliciano decided he couldn't get it, that it's Wright's ball, and Wright's looking at the scoreboard right now. See, right there, and David Wright is correct. That is a ball that the pitcher should feel. That is not his play. And watch what happens. See, it goes right into that area, and David Wright reads that as, oh, my pitcher's got that. I'm going to go back, and we're going to get the fourth step.
Feliciano came forward instead of falling off toward third.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't. That's the pitcher's play.
Well, the Phillies have an all left-handed bench now with Mayberry already being used. So Ross Gload will pinch hit for Durbin with the bases loaded. The infield is in, and it's 1 ball and no strikes to Gload.
How'd they score that?
I think they just scored a base hit. Yep.
Okay.
That's 9 hits now for the Phillies. Brad Lidge loosening up in the pen, and that nearly got away from Tolley.
And that's what happens when you do your job. And that's what Valdez did there. That Wilson did his job. He got the bunt out, and he got it over in that area where you want to make the third baseman field it. Good play there by Tolley. He's a little I mean, he turned the glove the wrong way and somehow got it back the right way.
Wasn't even in the right neighborhood. 3-0 the count. Francisco's over at third. Ruiz is at second. Valdez is at first. 3-0 the count to Globe. And he was taken all the way.
So he's trying to have a big inning here and make it a little easier for the bullpen for Brad Lidge in the top of the ninth inning. The Mets, of course, have to play it all the way in right now. They can't go for a double play because they don't want to give up another run.
Outfield is in too. And Globe. Looks like he's trying to get a fly ball. Well, from Citizens Bank Park, it's the start of Alumni Weekend. The night began with Darren Dalton going into the Phillies Wall of Fame. Hello, Chris Wheeler. I'm Tom McCarthy. Phillies lead it 3-2. It's game one of a three-game series against the Mets. The Phillies have won 11 straight. A lot of rally caps in this inning because the Phillies trailed it by one, and they lead by one now. Nobody out. Bases loaded. And Globe stays alive.
Boy, he talked about him during the Florida series, how short and quick that swing is. He hit that out of Toley's glove.
That expression could tell a whole lot of stories.
Love those crowd shots. You know, obviously, when the Phillies were up in New York playing the Mets back in May, we were getting crowd shots of Phillies fans looking like that.
He got some texts and they said, you know, smile next time. You're on TV. He hasn't gotten that text. I don't think he would care if he got that text, though.
I don't know who wants to ask him.
I'll send Sarge down. Inside ball four. A run's going to score. And the Phillies lead it by two.
Well, that Ross Globe gives you one good at bat after another. That was another one. That was a tremendous job by him.
And still nobody out.
Of course, that Mets fan didn't think that was a real good at bat. He thought his pitcher, but what are you doing walking him? Everybody has a reaction. Phillies fans are ecstatic as that fastball tails in, and this guy is, you gotta be kidding me. Come on. Walk with the bases loaded.
And again, the infield is in, and again, Feliciano falls behind 1-0. Feliciano, as we said, has really struggled lately. 7 earned runs in 11 1/3, his last 11 1/3. Now, he hasn't allowed a run here, but he's allowed an inherited runner to score. Whatever works. Rally cap, rally visor, rally camera.
I mean, my guy can't throw a strike. I don't get it.
Dan Worthen's going out to the mound.
This is a tremendous inning by the Phillies, fundamentally. The things they've done in this inning. From the base running to the contact they made to work in the count to getting a bunt down. Great job.
And one of the biggest hits they had in this inning, Carlos Ruiz with his 27th RBI. It's the 10th go-ahead RBI for him this year. That's an impressive stat for a guy that hits toward the bottom of the order.
And that's part of, that's part of working the count, too. That's my point about the job they've done with the counts in this inning. You know, he worked it to 3-1 and got a fastball right down the middle and hit it. It has really been a fundamentally sound inning for them offensively.
2-0 the count to Jimmy Rollins with the infield in and the bases loaded. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th. Line drive toward left field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Valdez read it beautifully, but he's going to hold up because he was right on the heels of Carlos Ruiz. An RBI single for Jimmy. It's now 5-2 Phillies.
Yeah, you got the bases loaded, nobody out. And a chance to really bust this wide open. That guy's had enough. So, you know, Sam's going to hold him there at third base. He's going to run him into an out. That guy's going to hang in there a little longer.
He looks like he's at his breaking point, though.
Not happy. Jimmy had another good at bat. One after another in this inning. He got ahead in the count and then got a fastball to hit. Smoked it. Go one base at a time right there with nobody out.
And Ibanez takes a strike. It's 0-1. Phillies in the inning have 6 hits, a walk. There's nobody out, and you got a guy who has unbelievable numbers with the bases loaded, and Jerry Manuel knows that. 0-1 the count to Raul. Well, he waved at a slider. He tried to hold up, but he was swinging from the time that left Feliciano's hand.
Yeah, he had a fastball swing working on a frisbee, and that usually doesn't work out too well for the hitter.
Probably going to get a frisbee here, too. Castillo is way in at second. Now he backs up a little bit. Swing and a miss. He did get the frisbee, the slider, and there's the first out of the inning. And the Phillies have batted around here in the 8th. Jerry Manuel's out to the mound. Finally something for that guy to cheer about. And he just said now he's making a pitching change. And that's what Jerry Manuel's doing. He's going to get the right-hander, Manny Acosta. Pedro Feliciano, well, his night didn't go that well. He faced 4. He allowed a couple hits, a walk. He struck out 1. We got another pitching change. Steve Carlton was introduced, and then he introduced Darren Dalton. And that brings us to the Phillies, an extraordinary tradition, the hardcover coffee table book. Both those guys are going to be featured in that book. It's a pictorial history of the Phillies. It features over 400 photos, plus rare pieces of memorabilia and original essays from Phillies stars, past and present. It's a 252-page book. It covers the 128-year history of the Phillies. You can get it by calling 877-GO-PHILS, in park at the Majestic Clubhouse store, or online at the fans section of Phillies.com. Well, the Phillies have written a whole new chapter to this ball game here in the 8th. They've scored 4 runs. They've batted around, as Placido Polanco will face Manny Acosta with the bases loaded and 1 out in the infield in. Acosta is another hard thrower. This is his 20th game.
Interesting. They're still, excuse me, Tom, they're still keeping the infield in with 1 out now. They still don't want to take a chance on a double play that they don't make now, scoring a run, and yet you don't have a fast runner at the plate. And look at all the room he has to hit this thing through here.
He lines it towards center field. Beltran going back. That's going to get the run home from third. He makes the grab. The throw comes to second, and Gload goes back to second. Valdez scores standing. An RBI for Polanco, his second of the ball game, and the Phillies lead it 6-2.
Now it doesn't matter because he hits a fly ball, but just one more to add in this inning. One more example to add in this inning of fundamentally sound baseball. Contact, fly ball, sacrifice fly. They've done everything right in this inning. It's really been impressive.
And it all started with Sweeney, who's up now.
Yep, there it is, a fastball, or maybe it was a slider. And Polly does a good job, hits it deep to center field. Easy sac fly, and another run, a 4-run lead, a 5 spot.
Sweeney began the inning with a single the opposite way, went to third on a base hit by Jason Worth, and then scored the tying run on a single by Ben Francisco. 1 for 4 in his first start in the Phillies uniform. And he has Gload at second and Rollins at first. Lays off a breaking ball. Good play by Tolley, keeping Gload as he keeps Gload at second, and J-Roll at first.
Talk about people who were around Sweeney in the American League, like Charlie Manuel, and they just rave about what kind of player he used to be. You know, what a good hitter he was. Not only a home run hitter, but a good hitter. And they don't know how much he has left, but they really feel he can help this club. And, you know, he's showing signs of being able to do that.
Line drive, base hit toward left center field. It's his second hit of the inning. Glode's going to score. Jimmy goes to third. Roll out the welcome mat for Mike Sweeney. He's getting involved very early.
Get the plaque ready out there on the Wall of Fame. And Shane Victorino and the DL appreciating what he sees. And, you know, Sweeney, just being around in 2 days, is such a nice man. You know, he's just taken over in the clubhouse. And Raul talked about him before he came here. Ibanez did, about how everybody's going to like him. That guy doesn't like him that much. But they say he's a professional hitter, and he got a fastball up and wacko. He crushed that thing. Man, he got on top of some cheese there.
Sure did. Glode scores easily. It's now 7-2 Phillies, and Worth bats for the second time.
It's a career 298 hitter.
What a different, as we said, chapter it has been here in the 8th. 7 innings for Neese, 4 hits and 1 earned run. In the bullpen, 2/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs. That's going to be foul, but that's one of those ooh-ahs.
Yeah, this game is just blown wide open on New York on account of their bullpen. They were 6 outs away from a nice win, maybe. And now the Phillies are, you would think, in control of this game. You hope they are.
Look at that. That's a big old crooked number. Baez takes over for Lidge in the pen.
You've heard them talk before. Charlie talked before about he considers 4 runs a safe situation, even though it isn't in the rule book in this ballpark. Now it's up to 5, so he's going to warm somebody else up and sit Lidge down.
Trying to stay alive. He drags it toward third. Right has it, and the side is retired. But what a side it's been. 9 batters came to the plate. Or excuse me, 11 batters came to the plate in the inning for the Phils. The first RBI off the bat of Worth. Then another one by Francisco. Great bunt by Valdez. A base hit by Jimmy Rollins. And then Sweeney with the icing on top of the cake. Phillies scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th, and now Danny Baez will come on for his 41st game. He's 2-3, a 4.82 ERA, and he's on to try to finish off game 1 of this series. Ross Glode stays in the game. He'll play first for Mike Sweeney. What an 8th inning Mike Sweeney had. An RBI, 2 hits, a run scored.
Great base running play. I think really opened that whole inning up for the Phillies.
Baez will face David Wright, Ike Davis, and Josh Tolley. 4, 5, and 6 for New York. Wright is 1 for 3, as you see. Danny Baez, in last night's ball game, pitched a scoreless 8th for the Phillies. He did allow a double with 2 outs. Better command last night, particularly of his breaking pitch. Let's see if he can carry it over tonight.
This is what they want, is to try and get him some work, get him in some games, be effective so they can trust him in crucial spots.
Charlie got a scoreless inning from Chad Durbin in the 8th. There's a strike.
It gives us a chance. Jim Barniak was a great friend of so many of us around here. You know, sports writer, sportscaster, and all. His mom Loretta had some surgery. I'd like to wish her well. She's doing okay from what we hear. And Jim was a great personality in this town for a long time and did a lot of good work.
I have this framed painting where Harry's in the middle and all of his partners are around him. You know, yourself, Jim Barniak. I mean, it's really neat.
Yeah, Jim worked with us on the old Prism cable cast. And
called strike 3. Little paint on the outside corner for Baez. 1 away.
That is just what they want from Danny Baez, is to get into some kind of groove and help him out. And Danny is one of those guys that wants to help out.
Well, 3 different times tonight, the Phillies retired the Mets in order. And don't forget, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities every time that happens. Phillies baseball is brought to you by the Xfinity Triple Play, your complete lineup for digital TV, high-speed internet, and home phone. And Danny Baez is hoping to make it another 1-2-3 inning. Ike Davis is the hitter. And a curve inside and low. 1 ball and no strikes. Ike Davis, the son of former Major Leaguer Ron Davis, who is celebrating a birthday today.
This guy's a good-looking young hitter.
His dad was a heck of a relief pitcher for the Twins and the Yankees.
Watch Davis. He's got a lot of moving parts, but he squares it up pretty well, and he's got tremendous power.
After watching Stanton and Gabby Sanchez the last couple of days, can you imagine what the race for the Rookie of the Year is going to be like in the National League?
Yeah.
Right side, that'll sneak through. And Davis has his second hit.
I was just talking about his swing. It looks like he has the potential to get out front or maybe even be late with all that movement, but he really keeps his hands back, and he stayed back well on a breaking ball there. Granted, it was up. That was a nice piece of hitting by him.
Hey, after the game, get highlights and a recap of this ball game, plus all the sights and sounds from Dutch Dalton's Wall of Fame induction. Plus the latest news from Lehigh as the Birds continue training camp. All tonight after the game on Toyota Sports Night, right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Tolley's 1 for 3. And a strike on the outside corner. Tolley had an RBI back in the 4th that initially gave the Mets a 2-1 lead. In the air, over toward the left field line. Jimmy Rollins glides under it. 2 outs. Phillies are 1 out away from taking the first of this 3-game series and winning their 12th straight here at the ballpark.
Well, Jonathan Neese did some job tonight against them through 7 innings. It really shut them down. And then the Phillies did a tremendous job of executing in that 8th inning.
A 6-run 8th really turned the tide on this game. Here's Frank Core with a runner at first. And a curveball in there for a strike. He's had a good breaking pitch tonight.
I always said about Danny that, you know, the more you use him, the better he gets. But the problem is they haven't been able to use him. He has a power arm. You know, this is a guy who throws a ball 95 miles an hour with that freezing type of hook. You know, he can't be comfortable to hit off.
Plus, he's not a small man.
No, and he fires, and he's just wild enough too to give you happy feet.
1-2 the count. This crowd of 45,378 to their feet. They celebrated Darren Dalton's Wall of Fame induction. Now they're trying to celebrate a Phillies win. The pitch. Outside and low, 2-2. Guy's got it all together right there. He's had a long half hour. The 2-2 pitch. Chopper up the third base line, and it's rolling. Still fair. It's going to stay fair.
Amazing. How'd that ball stay fair? That's ridiculous.
Must be pretty flat down there.
That really looked like it had a lot of topspin on it. He was going to kick foul. Francoeur will take it. Boy, he's been struggling.
He has a 3-hit night. Davis is up to second.
Here it is, and you see he just beats it right into the ground, and now, well, it hit the line, then it went back the other way, then it hits the grass, now it comes back here, and all of a sudden, Polly says, well, it's going to hit the bag. I might as well pick it up. And as we know, if the ball hits the bag, it's fair.
It's fair.
It's fair.
But sometimes when it hits before the bag in fair territory and behind the bag in fair territory, well, it's foul. Charlie Manuel heading out to the mound, and I think he's going to go get J.C. Romero for the left-handed hitting Chris Carter. Carter was just introduced as a pinch hitter. J.C. and Brad both loosening in the pen. And that's going to be it. Romero's coming in. Danny Baez gets 2 outs but allows 2 hits. So he'll leave, and J.C. Romero's coming to the ballgame with the Phillies on top 5-5. To his left-hander, J.C. Romero. Chris Carter had been introduced as a pinch hitter, but now Jerry Manuel will counter with Mike Hessman. Mike Hessman is known around baseball as the active leader in minor league home runs with 329.
He's Crash Davis.
He is Crash Davis.
In real life.
Andy Tracy, who plays for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, is second. But look at that. 329 career home runs in the minors, 952 RBIs. He nearly made the Mets out of spring training. And he's on the pinch hit for Carter, who was going to pinch hit for Castillo. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Romero had a very difficult night last night. That's something he didn't do last night, and that's throw strikes. Just needs to get 1 out to secure this win. In the air to right center field. That's a shot. Francisco into the alleyway, to the warning track, to the wall. And just like that, it's a 2-run game.
An opposite field home run for Hessman. It's his first of the year. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a save situation. Man, he killed that the opposite way.
No, yeah, he's strong. And with all those minor league home runs, no doubt about it. They're waiting for Blanco to be introduced now, Henry Blanco, and then Charlie's going to bring Lynch in. But, you know, it looked like a fastball out over the plate a little bit. And, you know, there's a little bit of a jet stream out there tonight towards right and right center. And that baby took off and left the ballpark. There's Carter, the guy that he just hit for. Hessman hit for. So you think about that little bleeder that Francoeur hit down the third baseline with a couple strikes on him and still going.
Oh, meeting on the mound. Charlie Manuel has not gone out to the mound. He just talked to Rich Doobie, and here he comes.
Let's make sure he's ready.
He asked if Blanco has been introduced. He has. And that's going to be it for J.C. Romero. So Romero allows the home run the opposite way. Brad Lidge just started to tune up once again, and there's the call to the bullpen. So Lidge will be on here at the top of the ninth with 2 outs. The Phillies lead it 7-5. They need to get one more out to finish off this ball game. This one might be over by now, huh? Well, it's a 2-run game, 7-5. The bases are empty. Brad Lidge on for his 28th ball game, a 4.88 earned run average for Brad. And after Mike Hessman's 3-run home run, this game is tightened up to the point where Charlie has used 2 relievers already. Brad is the 3rd.
Well, he's trying to use a couple guys, you know, just get this over with. Didn't work. And the one hit that, you know, you look back on right now is that little dribbler down the third baseline. Francoeur hit, kept the inning alive to the point where Hessman could hit the ball of the ballpark, and now it's a 2-run game. But you need one out, and there's nobody on base.
Well, Jesus Feliciano will now pinch hit for Henry Blanco. Feliciano began the year in the minor leagues, came up, went back down in the minors, hitting .297 overall, no homers and 2 RBIs. He's never faced the Phillies or Brad Lidge. And the first slider moves inside. It's 1-0. Made his major league debut back on the 10th of June. On the outside corner. That's a fastball, and it's 1-1. Another slider and another strike. And it's 1-2. And here we go again.
Yeah, they've been up a lot.
Well, they have, and they came up with some energy this time. 1-2 the count. The pitch. And the looper foul over the Mets dugout. Feliciano spoils the breaking ball. The Phillies scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th. The Mets have scored 3 in the top of the 9th. It's 7-5 Phils.
Again, the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball called strike 3. Brad Lidge comes on to get the final out, and the Phillies have won 12 straight here at Citizens Bank Park. The offense took a long time to come to life, but they certainly came to life in their half of the 8th inning. Mike Sweeney had 2 hits, an RBI, and a run scored in that 8th inning. He also had a heck of a base running play, and he is our Chevrolet player of the game. 13 games over the 500 mark are the Phillies. And now they await the outcome of the Braves and the Giants to see where they sit in the East and in the wild card. So 5 straight overall, 12 straight here at Citizens Bank Park. And that is the 3rd longest winning streak in Phillies history. It matches the dozen they won in a row in 1895. How about that? Now the standings right now, the Phillies a game and a half behind the Braves and closing. The Braves, because of a long rain delay, are just in the 4th inning against the Giants. The Mets, meanwhile, dropped to 8.5. Well, it's a nice way to introduce yourself to the Phillies faithful. Get a couple hits in 1 inning. Nice base running play, a run scored, an RBI. Mike Sweeney's down on the field with Sarge. Sarge, take it away.
Hey, guys, thanks a lot. Early on when they said when Mike was coming here, what do you know about him? I said he can hit a fastball, and you proved that tonight.
Yeah, Sarge, I'm just trying to do my spot, do my thing, and, Big Ryan, that's his spot. He's the face of this team, and, when he went down, I was called to come in here. When Charlie calls on me, I'm going to do my part. It might not be a big part, but I'm going to go out there and give it everything I have every single night. And tonight, thank God I did.
What do you think about this crowd in coming here?
Well, it's quite different than what I'm used to, but it's a joy to play in front of these fans. And I'm not going to be Ryan Howard, but I'm going to go out there and give you my heart every single night. And this is a chance of a lifetime. I've been dreaming about playing on a championship-type team my whole career. The first time I've had that opportunity. So I'm going to cherish every second I'm here and just try to do my thing until Big Ryan comes back.
Now, I heard you in the dugout, or actually I saw you were going like, hey, let's go, let's get this thing going.
Yeah, well, the Mets are a great ball club, and we got a couple runs going, but with a team like that, as we saw in the 9th, they're going to score runs. So I knew